Hello, my beautiful people. I'm Elizabeth Molina, and I am your beauty guru. In this podcast, I will share with you all you need to know about beauty from the inside out. You will gain access to the latest beauty trends from head to toe, mind and soul. You will hear from experts themselves, the trendy influencers, celebrities, athletes, and of course, myself on all things beauty. This is definitely the place to be biohacking, beauty hacking, life hacking into the why for your beauty routine. Are you ready for your glow up session? Welcome back and happy hump day. And I'm so honored that you are spending some part of your Wednesday, hopefully with us here, listening to today's interview. Today's guest is Annalynne Mccord. She is an American actress, writer, director, and producer. She is known for playing the vixen, vamp, and roles of darker nature. Mccord first gained prominence in 2007 as a seeming edgelord on the FX television series Nip Tuck, which I personally loved, followed by credits on the CW's 90210, TNT Dallas, Stalker on CBS, Fox's Jerry Buckenheimer produced pilot Lucifer, Pop TV's comedy Let's Get Physical, and ABC's Secrets and Lies. Her turn as a disturbed and delusional teenager in the 2012 film Excision was widely acclaimed for her role in Excision. Mccord won Best Actress at Magala International Week of Fantastic Cinema in 2012. Anna's recent film, 68 Kill, won the Audience Award at the SXSW, and her performance has been hailed strong, fierce, and powerful. Anna is currently filming in New York City on Starz 50 Cent's show-produced Power prequel, Raising Kanan. During her free time, Anna has contributed to various charities, stating that working with charitable organizations and giving back has been her saving grace, as it has taught her how to rescue herself. She is the founder of The Love Storm, a campaign which raises awareness for those victimized by human trafficking and sexualized violence. In 2009, Anna was awarded a U.S. congressional honor by the Connecticut Congresswoman Rosa DeLaudo for her anti-trafficking work. In 2019, Annalynne was nominated for the Best Actress at Madrid's International Film Festival for her role in Milkshake Girls, a short film about sex trafficking. In 2014, Anna revealed that she was sexually assaulted when she was 19 by a male friend. In March of 2015, while speaking at the United Nations in support with the UNWFPA, Mccord announced her alignment with the NFL Support Anti-Sexual Assault and Anti-Domestic Abuse Project, the No More campaign. In 2018, while undergoing EMDR, a neurological treatment for PTSD, Anna has latent memories of her years of childhood abuse resurface. She has since become an advocate for profound treatment and the remarkable transformation to which it has led her to be as a TEDx speaker, an advocate, an activist, and meditation leader. Anna continues to engage audiences at colleges, events, and private engagements with her transformative tools and candid outlook on sexualized violence, domestic abuse, human trafficking, and slavery, which touches 7 billion people, as well as obviously mental slavery. So there is no coincidence, guys, why Anna and I came together. We were supposed to do the podcast a couple months ago, and I had some emergencies, and she was so nice to reschedule. We rescheduled twice, I believe, and it was about working out and movement, because I was just so adamant about, oh my God, I need to release this podcast. I need to be all the 10 categories, and then I can do other kinds of interviews. And then I realized that was just not working out. So we started talking about trauma, and we started talking about trafficking, violence, domestic violence, just all of these things that are happening that we're not really giving a voice to. So we thought that this message was stronger, and obviously we're going to talk about a lot of things. You guys have to just stay tuned in here. I mean, we had an amazing conversation, and you definitely have to watch, if you're able to, the video portion of this so you can see our faces and see what's happening in the background, and you get to see her beautiful cat. So I'm going to leave you guys to it, and I'm going to introduce our guest. Hello, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to finally get you on. How are you doing, Annalynne?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited, as you can tell. If you guys, this is an audio and video podcast, so you're going to be able to watch us and see all of our faces. Mine, I look a little orange today, but that's okay. And you look beautiful as always. So I want to, before I let you talk, I want to just preface this. Like, I was so excited to get you on the podcast, and you were so gracious enough to reschedule. I had something come up, and you were so sweet. You're like, it's okay, life happens, like, we'll make it work. And I think it happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason, I don't think. And that podcast would have been about working out and meditation, and which is great. They're great tools. And it's part of my beauty circle where I talk about movement and, and being one with your body and meditating. And I was like, it's going to be great. She's this beautiful person inside and out, and she's going to talk about it. And she has experiences that have brought her here. But today we're actually going to detour from that original concept, if you're okay with it. And
Absolutely.
we're going to talk about things that are, in my humble opinion, just more important. And this is going to air after the date that we're going to talk about, but it's still, things are still happening around the world. So before we get to that, I just kind of want to get to know a little bit more about you. We know that you are a well-known actress. Like, your credentials are pages long. You're stunning, and you're pretty famous, right? So how did you get into this? Just a little bit. How'd you get into this business? Tell us, like, how you got started into it. What made you want to become an actress?
Well, there's the story that I always tell when I'm asked this question, and then there's the story that perhaps is more appropriate to the shifts that we're both making in this podcast experience. I could give you the easy, I was 9 years old, I dreamed of being an actress, I grew up in a trailer park, and it was never going to happen, but then I made it happen, and voila, here I am, which is lovely and sounds great and fits the stereotypical hooray Cinderella story that we all know and love. And I am grateful for all aspects of that part, but it is a story. And the thing about stories is they're lovely things to hear and read about, but who are you really and why are you really here matters more to me. So since we're doing What Matters More on this episode, I, without knowing it in my 9-year-old conscious mind, but certainly knowing it in my spirit consciousness, I had a little mission I was embarking upon at 9 years old, and I thought being an actress was the way to get me there, and I am so grateful that I wasn't wrong, because it has created a remarkable platform for me. But the mission that I am on, that I came to planet Earth to accomplish, is for less about the 9-year-old children like me that were dreaming of being an actor, and more about the 9-year-old children like me that were experiencing sexual abuse and experiencing marginalization, experiencing poverty. I ticked all the boxes. I am here on this planet now because that little 9-year-old inspired me to stick around. I was suicidal, I was self-harming, I was depressed, I was anxious. I would not be here if it hadn't been for the deeper meaning of why my spirit consciousness knew I was here. And my 9-year-old self was on to something, because she had some things that she wanted me to do that I'm only now just beginning to realize. And so I dreamed of being an actress. That was the top layer of the story. And I did. I graduated from high school at 15 years old. I was homeschooled my entire education, so I never went to a normal school. And as a result of that, I was able to take the reins and get in control of my own education and graduate early, graduated with honors, all the things that make everybody in the world go, yay, you're doing such a great job as a human. So congratulations. Like the world's smallest violin. The emphasis that we put on education and college and the right schools is like, I want to shoot myself in the face. Like, everybody's missing all of everything while they're so focused on, my child's going to an Ivy League school. Like, that makes you feel good about yourself in your circles at church. And I'm so glad for you. And also, wherever you find joy, please find it so you raise the vibration of this very low vibrational frequency that's in our world right now. But also, really? That's your biggest focus? How about, who is your child as a human being? Do you even know?
Oh my
Who are
God,
they?
this
Why
so
did they
good.
come here? Why did they come here? Who are they as a spirit consciousness, as a little essence inside of that beautiful little body that you keep telling them to cut their hair and wear the right clothes and make mommy and daddy look good because we want to talk about you in our circles so we feel better about ourselves because we're trying to pretend like we're not getting old and, oh, well, we are because age happens, bitches. It's like, it's just, maybe you caught me on a cynical moment, but I'm
I
just like,
love it.
I'm
This is
so
good. This is
over.
raw. There's so many people, parents, children who need to hear this because they need to hear this. This is real. This is how we get to higher consciousness. This is how we start letting these little people who are going to be the future.
The
This is how
future.
we give them a chance to really be in their true spirit without
Yeah.
breaking them. And this is how we get a better future. So I love this, what you just explained. So tell me more. I love this 9-year-old girl. Like, I need to be friends with her.
I know, me too. I'm best friends with her now. I like check in. I'm like, hey, are you in there? Can we hang out?
Yeah.
She's an arrogant little thing, and I am obsessed with her. People were imbeciles to me half the time. Everyone was telling me I would never make it in my dreams. My dreams would never come true. All this stuff. I thought everybody was a bunch of morons. I was like, where is this confidence coming from, child? I'm so grateful that I was a little 9-year-old who had much more of her shit together than I do now at 34. But she got me through a lot, and I think it was perhaps that arrogance and childlike ignorance that allowed me to believe in something that we suppress. As we become adults, we push down and we end and we squelch and squeeze the lemon dry of anything that resembles dreaming or imagination or creation or all the things that make our world beautiful. And when I look at the people in our world and the people that I was surrounded with as I became an actress, I did become successful. I did make it in Hollywood. And this is the line I literally say to everyone. I live in a town of visionaries with no vision. I'm dealing with something right now where I'm doing something outside the box and I get a response that's redacting everything I've written and putting it into the structure of the format of the way it's supposed to be said and done because this is how we do it over here at this corporation or this, bureaucratic establishment. And it's like, okay, so I'm going to do a speech for your bureaucratic establishment, and I'm going to say it in a way that grabs your heart and shakes you to your core and makes you feel something because you're a human being, and in so many ways we're numb, and we numb ourselves if we're not numb enough. I'm going to make you feel in 10 minutes of your day, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't sit through another humdrum speech. I actually got spoken to. I was seen, and I felt that I could see this person. They were showing me themselves. I got to actually be shown up for today. Nope, we're going to redact all of that. We're going to make you do a structured, terrible, horrible speech, which I'm still going to change. But
Is
all
this
the
you
people
today,
listening,
or is this your 9-year-old?
This is to me 34-year-old Annalynne channeling the 9-year-old Anna.
Yeah.
The irony is that they're changing the structure to fit the inside the box for all of the people who they think need to hear this inside the box. But all of those people would much rather be at a dive bar having a beer with me, talking the way I would talk to them in my speech as I wrote it. And it's just like this crazy, ironic thing where we walk around, we live in these circles, we wear these masks, and I don't mean COVID-19 masks. We wear masks as who we are. And I went into an industry where I thought the masks that I was going to wear were on set in costume and hair and makeup. But what I found was that everywhere I went, you had to perform. I was performing more off camera than I ever was on camera. I was smiling on the red carpets at this life that everyone told me was so great, and I was miserable. I was using sex as a vice because sexuality had been used against me, and I started to use it for myself, but it was still technically being used against me by me now. I was harming my own body. I was in situations where I was provoking really dangerous sexual experiences to just get a high, to get a feeling, to get a dopamine hit, to feel anything at all because I was so fucking numb. Like, I mean, it literally, all of the things behind the veil, behind the mirage, I was living them out, and I got to a point at a very early point in my life where I was over it. I wanted to quit. I call it my young life crisis. I was being offered the show 90210. I said, no, I don't want to do this show. I don't want to be an actress anymore. I called my old acting partner in New York, who was a good friend and an incredible humanitarian, and I said, Jess, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want to live in LA. I don't want to be in this town. I don't want to be in this industry. It's not what I thought it was when I was 9 years old. I'm going to move back to New York, work at Starbucks, and find a new passion. And she's like, well, no, you're not, because that's stupid as fuck. She always laughs at me because I embellish her words. She's very sweet and kind, and she would never tell me something stupid as fuck. But she essentially, in a very nice, politically correct way, was telling me, right. Yeah, it was just stupid as fuck. So she said, you have such a platform. You have such an opportunity with what you're about to embark on to change the lives of other individuals you've never even met. Are you going to give up on all of that because you don't like that people are a little bit egotistical, and the only place they're egotistical is in your town? They're not egotistical in New York City. You really some of the most elitist people in the world. So she changed my mind. We went to Cambodia, where I had my entire world turned upside down. I met survivors of human trafficking and these little girls who I thought, I'm going to go help some kids in another country and be such a good person. The girls changed my whole life and saved me. It was completely the other way around. They saved me in a million ways. And I know that this is so very personal to you, but the profundity of survival and what that state creates, and living in that, and then surviving that, and then healing from that, and coming out of that. It's such an incredible journey. And I had little 6-year-old little girls, little 3-year-old little girls who are looking at me with more forgiveness and more grace and more compassion in their short little lives that have been so horribly traumatized than I had in all these years of living in a free country and all the things,
Wow.
And I was really, really impacted by that.
Wow. I mean, I'm like, just take me on your carry-on and let's go and do something, because this just sounds like beyond life-changing. But before we move forward, because this is what we want to talk about today, really, this is the real conversation that needs to be heard, that needs to be spread out to millions of people so that we can make a difference, one person at a time, a voice at a time, or millions at a time. Guides, it's up to you. Share this if you really want to help us with this mission. But can we know what was that straw that broke your back? What was that like? I'm done.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, it's ironically surrounding human trafficking, which was something that was not yet my cause. And I was on the set of a film I did called Fired Up, and it was it was such an ironic moment to happen in life, and this historic aspect of it. There was a massive writer's strike that was going on because of the switchover from the pre-digital age to the digital age, and who was going to get what types of percentages and all the things when suddenly people were streaming things online, and half the world's like, no one's going to watch anything streamed online, that's so not going to be the thing. And then the other half of the world made a lot of money in the stocks because everybody watches things streamed online. But so at that point, back in 2008, I was finishing up Nip Tuck on FX, and I
love that show, by the way. I watched it 3 times.
I was going to say, I was very proud of being to be on that show. That was a lot of fun. Sorry, my cat is trying to make an appearance. Hi, what would you like to do, Chloe? Because you're about to walk all over Mommy's. Okay, I'm going to just pick you up.
So cute.
This is Chloe.
Chloe.
Say hello. So Nip Tuck, we got shut down temporarily because of the writer's strike, because we ran out of scripts. So the writers couldn't write any more of our scripts and continue the season. So in the interim, I did a film called Fired Up. It was about like a comedy about cheerleaders and this whole thing. And I worked with some very, at the time, because they were 12. I hope it's because they were 12. Some very vapid individuals. In the same moment, I had been in the process, and I had met with the director, and I was in talks about doing this film that centered around the story about human trafficking. It was an incredible film. It was so amazing. It was so well written. It was so enthralling and action-packed and entertaining, while highlighting an issue that nobody in the world was talking about back then, because when I got involved with this issue 13 years ago, no one was talking about this. They had no idea what human trafficking was. The writer's strike happened. The film got canned. It got shelved. Money pulled out, so essentially it got canned. It wasn't going to be able to, they weren't going to be able to complete the rewrites, so it just got shelved. And so I'm doing this movie, and I'm sitting in the makeup chair, and I'm hearing, like, oh my God, girl, like, you, like, dead enough parents for less than $50,000? Like, my manager would never let that happen. You have to talk to her. Oh my God, totally, girl, like, totally. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I had this whole moment where it was just like, if it was a movie, it's just like everything slows down into, like, slow motion. It's like, whoa,
right.
Whoa, yeah. My heart beats like, oh, God, no, what have I done? I've just thrown my whole existence away. So I was having this existential crisis. I get offered 90210, and I was just like, it wasn't even a thought. It was just like, no. Like, I'm on Fired Up, and I'm around kids my age, and I want to knock them out because they're literally... Like, they thought that the other cheerleaders thought that we were actually really at war with each other. And I was like, okay, well, I was hired to act. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't think that I actually hate you in real life, because... Oh, gosh. I literally went to shake one of the girls' hands, and she just, like, stared at me while she was on her sidekick, like, huh? And I was like, okay, so you're going to shake my hand, because my hand is not going to stand here and hang in the air and not get shaken. So I just kept my hand there until she finally was like, shakes my hand. I was coming off of this acclaimed show with adult humans who go home after work to their families and actually treat people with some human decency. And it was so weird to be thrown into this mix with 20-somethings who I'd just never been around humans who acted like that. And now I was going to do a show called 90210 with a bunch of 20-somethings who I was so afraid were going to act like that. And thankfully, I had a lot of cool humans on that show, but it was a very different experience. It definitely had some flavors of the previously mentioned, but for the most part, you know, we had each other's backs. But yeah, I was like, nah, dude, not into it. And as a result of that experience, that was kind of the overt straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I was like, no. I signed up to be a thespian, and this is not what I want to do. That's what I was like. And then I did go on the show, and then I did experience, quite a bit of success, as it is determined by the society and culture that we live in, the very in-the-box version of success, where you want to kill yourself in your bathtub, but you don't tell anyone about that because you're too busy smiling on a red carpet, making everyone think everything's all great. So that was the kind of success I achieved. I would continue on with the suicidality being a part of my narrative for many years after that period, and would ultimately end up in PTSD treatment. When the older I got and the safer I got in my world, in my life, the more I slowed down. You and I discussed this, like when you slow down, you're getting to a safer point, and you are inviting in the healing that ultimately can occur if you allow it. I wanted to get over whatever it was that was creating these negative cycles, these horrible relationship dynamics, and all these things. I had no idea what I was going to discover. I did Ayahuasca in 2017, which is a plant medicine that I highly recommend, but give fair warning. It's not for the faint of heart. So it's something to really decide, I'm going to surrender. I did not surrender at all, and therefore I went to hell. But if you if you decide to surrender and then actually let yourself release control, something I did not know how to do at the time, you can have an immediately life transforming journey. Mine took about 13 months. 13 months after ayahuasca, I had childhood memories of sexual abuse return that were latent for almost 30 years. And
did they return during the ceremony or like after, like in bits and pieces? I'm just curious.
Almost 13 months to the day, I was in it.
Wow.
I ended up in as a result of ayahuasca, I started making lifestyle changes that I don't think I otherwise would have made. And as a result of the lifestyle changes, I got safer in my own personal space.
Got it.
And then things started to bubble up, but I didn't have any attachment to what they were. They were all body stuff and energetic stuff. And then I realized that some of them were causing me PTSD, like panic attacks, things that sound very not positive. They're awesome. They're amazing. We love panic attacks. You know why? You know why we love panic attacks? Because they are alerting us to something that is wrong and needs your attention, and pay a fucking attention to it. So I paid a fucking attention to it. And I went.
This is a good episode. This is a freaking good episode, because you are literally, we're entering a new age, a new world, a new time, new dimensions. Vibrations are raising high. People are no longer wanting to be in that little box that
Amen,
was made
sister.
Who knows where, what, like how many hundreds of thousands of years ago. That doesn't work anymore. You cannot use that same structure today. It doesn't work. So you are saying things that somebody needs to hear right now, today. They're listening to this conversation, and they're like, yes, oh my God, I feel that to the core. I'm going to go get help. This is not something to be shameful of. All of these symptoms that we feel, even if it's a cough, a cold, a sneeze, an allergy, whatever, it can be superficial. It can be like deep inside, like some kind of like, what's going on? I want to eat. I need to feed myself comfort food because I'm feeling something. These are all, like you said, wonderful, because they're signs of like, hey, it's like a flag. They're like, I need attention. Come to me. And you, with your platform, are sharing this message, because for a long time we were in this box and they were telling us, no, that's shameful. Hide that sign. Hide it. Bury it. Take medication. Hide it. You don't need to know about that sign. And then one day it hits you and you're like, what happened to me? Had I seen all those signs, my car would not have been destroyed. Check engine light came on. I should have checked it. Put the fluid in. I should have done that. Oh, the gas light. Like, wow. Oil change, right? Those little things. If you don't pay attention, what happens, right? And so I love that you're saying that, because this is what we need to hear. And I love that we're not talking. Movement is great. Meditation is great. And they're tools to use to get there. But our initial interview was going to be about that. But this is so important. So I'm so thankful that you are just on fire. And you're
I am a little fired up today. I won't lie.
Love it.
But I will say I'm fired up about meditation and mindful practice, because those have been massive tools for my healing.
Yes.
When I began treatment from those panic attacks I'm grateful for those panic attacks, because they highlighted the issue that I needed to look at, and I was refusing to do so because I was taking care of everything else and everyone else and not myself. And my body kept saying, how loud do you want me to get? Because I'm going to get loud. I'm going to make you sick. I'm going to do whatever it takes to stop you in your tracks and slow you down. And what it did was it sent me into a depression for 6 straight months that I didn't think I was ever going to get out of. Because my body knew that anything intense, I was going to still laugh off, joke it, morbid humor it away. But depression, I couldn't see a future for myself. I couldn't see a way out. And that was, my body and mind got clever and said, you know what? Let's depress her. Let's depress the shit out of this bitch, because if she gets depressed enough, she's a go-getter, and she's a mover and a hustler, and she's not going to be able to go get anything. She's not going to be able to move, and she's not going to be able to hustle, and she'll finally pay attention to the needs that are going on inside this body of hers that she's been ignoring for 30 years. And I'm so grateful to my depression. I'm so grateful to my remarkably incredible brain and consciousness that did this for me, that said, hello, whatever it takes, we're going to get your attention. And I coincided EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, a very, very, very powerful tool for post-traumatic stress disorder. It is used for war veterans by the United States government. That's what we offer our vets, and it became popular for survivors of sexual and domestic abuses. And I started that treatment, and I coincided it with Kundalini and pranayama breathwork, holotropic breathwork, really intense breathwork. I just did one last night, and it was beautiful and releasing and clearing. And it is, like you said, with the oil change, check engine lights. This is maintenance. You don't do just like a one-off thing, like, this is where I was, and now this is where I am, and here I am healed. No, until you die, you're healing. And you literally go into, if you believe in the next life, you're going into the next life with shit to heal. So this is a lifelong journey of self-investigation, cultivating silence, looking at the parts of you that you don't want to see, and asking, why are you here? Hello, panic attack. Why are you happening? We don't ask why. Why don't we ask why? Because someone's already answered a question we don't have to ask. They said, you know what? You got this issue, I got a pill for it. You got this thing, I got a drink for it. You got this thing, I got a dude to fuck for it. Like anything you want to not have to think about why you might need to ask the question why. We've got any kind of medicinal anything that you want right here, almost over the counter sometimes. And I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I never smoked up until I was 30 years old. I never drank a drip of alcohol. I do love a little bit of wine these days, I'm not going to lie. But my vice was sex. I used sex against myself because that's what I was taught to do as a child, and I continued that abuse against myself. And I had to detox. And now I'm learning about all of these practices, sacred sexual practices, ancient types of rituals that are modernized now for us to use today. I use orgasms. I get myself off thinking about how I'm going to change the world in the future. Like I do these manifestation orgasms. It's the wildest thing. First of all, it's not sexy to be like, let me think about how I'm going to change the world while I'm like rubbing one off. Sorry guys, I'm very beauty is like all things to me. One of the most beautiful things you can do is pleasure yourself, and I love that. I really love that. But I used to think about really toxic things, and our minds are incredibly powerful. So I was visualizing with one of the most powerful energies. The orgasm is life force, is creation. You created life, your little girl, like you made a human in your body. That is one of the most insane things that we can do, and no one thinks about it like that. But like a human person grew inside of you. There was nothing, and then there was a fucking human person. Like, that's wild to me. That's so wild. It is bizarre. But think about, if you have the energy in your body to grow a human person, how powerful must that energy be when harnessed? So I harness the energy of what it takes to create a human person, and I'm using it to create the life I'm going to live 10 years from now, 2 years from now, 2 weeks from now. I'm pulling in the one. I'm calling in these things that are beautifying my life in the way I define beauty, which is at the very end of my life. When I take my last breath on this planet and I breathe no more on Earth and I turn back into stardust, what did I do? What is the legacy that I left? Who did I help? Who did I love? Who loved me? Where did I lay down my life for something bigger than me? That's beauty in the world to me. And the tactics that you had to use to be able to get you and your little girl out of that horrible situation that you experienced all those years ago when you were taken and literally held against your will for months, the acting performance you had to play, the sacrifice you had to make because of a little girl. And I know you weren't making them half as intensely for yourself as you were making for that little one taken away from you, and
yes.
right.
Yeah.
So this is what we're capable of in humanity, and we are not just capable of it with our own biology. I don't have any personal children. Every child in this world, yours included, matters to me because they are the future of this planet. And the beauty of human beings is our ability to want better for someone else than we even have for ourselves. There's something profoundly beautiful in that.
So beautiful.
And I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful that you created this platform, that you're shining a light on true beauty. I love your flow chart. Like, I was looking at them, I was like, okay, wait a second. So I am super, really, way amazing good at water intake. I've got water in everything, everywhere, at all times. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a water fiend.
Yes.
I drink Kangen water, y'all. I ionize the water molecules so that it absorbs into my pores. I'm like crazy about water. Obviously, I'm crazy about spirituality. Sleep is something that I work very hard on. But sleep has been difficult. Trauma kids notoriously have difficulty with sleep. So it's a dance. I use brainwave technology. I use nighttime meditations. I used to wake up 40, 50 times a night in my 3 to 4 hours of sleep window that I would actually get. I'm grateful to say that turning on a meditation really quickly can put me back to sleep, which I never used to be able to fall asleep again. So that's an area I'm working on, but I love your beauty flow chart. It made me really happy. It was like, this is so cool. Just as a little reminder of like, hey, celebrate the wins, the joy. I'm a joyful person now. I could not stand people who are happy. I was like, why are you so happy? Ew. Now I'm just like, it's a loud storm.
I love that. I love that you loved it and you found it helpful, because that's why I created it. I wanted people to have those wins. I wanted people to see that they could do it and it was easy, and that's why there were 10 categories so that you could like feel positive about it. So I love it, and I love that you love it, and I love that you love water. Everyone who knows me as well, like I have water everywhere. Like I get a picture, like it's just so good for you. But okay. I feel like we could talk for hours and hours and just go off on every tangent possible. And like, I need to meet your 9-year-old. I know she's here too. And I'm like,
I'll bring her out.
Just bring her out, and she can meet like my 5-year-old, and we can just have fun. I mean, these are like our babies, ourselves, like our younger selves. Obviously, I don't have a 5-year-old. But I want to talk about the love storm.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because human trafficking, as we spoke, is very dear to our hearts. Sexual violence is also like something that you and I have experienced, and we have been very open about this, sharing our experiences with the public. And by sharing our messages, people can feel safe to maybe share their story and start the healing process, because that's really where it starts, when you let it out and you welcome in that healing. It's like a burden, but then the hole opens up and you can let in that light. And it is not as rainbows and butterflies and crystals that people say. It's hard work. It's a lot of work, like you said. Meditation, there's so many tools out there. EMDR, I think it's called, right? I always get it messed up. It's such a great therapy. There's so many different things. And I have to send you something for sleep, which I think is going to be great for you. It works on your nervous system. It's been amazing for me. Like, it actually like makes your nervous, like it makes it like act normal again, meaning like not that it wasn't normal, but like sometimes when you experience such heavy trauma, you stay stuck in that pattern, and you need like to press that little reset button, and it is really hard sometimes to do that. So I'm gonna send you that. I'm gonna remember. But going back to the thing, how did you start this? How did you woke up and you're like, okay, I'm awake now, I'm healing, I'm freaking breaking this box, like F this box, I don't live in these little parameters, like I am more. This 9-year-old came back and she's like, you were here for something, you are here for a mission, we're gonna trigger you, we're gonna press all your buttons, like you said, we're gonna make you so depressed that you have to do something. So how do you go from all of that, where you had repressed memories, right? Like you didn't even really know. You just knew that you had this tool. You're beautiful, you're gorgeous. And a lot of times I will tell you, like women who have experienced this at a young age, like myself as well, we use that because someone took our power. And so
we want to get it back.
What happens is we completely let people keep on taking the power, or we think that we're taking it back by giving it out because now we're in power, but we're also hurting ourselves in the process.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was doing.
How'd you go? Yeah, I know. I've been there too.
Yeah, I so for 13 years, I worked fighting human trafficking with an organization that has a ground team in Cambodia. And I, with the exception of COVID, which has been really hard for me, it's the first time in a decade that I haven't been to Cambodia. I go every holiday. I bring Christmas, Santa Anna's sleigh. I come in with all the Christmas presents and all the things, and I'm with my girls, and it's an incredible experience every time. And I tend to go a couple times a year. This work was piece by piece chipping away at, obviously, my personal journey and getting into where those memories could finally be realized. But the major shift and the reason for the launch of the campaign, The Love Storm, was because it had become the amalgamation of the fight I was doing on the outside, this work that is so important, and I am so grateful to everyone in the field fighting human trafficking. But we have had slavery in our world for thousands of years. We have not eradicated slavery because we keep doing the same things, expecting different results, and in some circles that's called insanity. So I was like, you know what? I've been called insane, and I'm super cool being insane in certain ways that put me outside the box. But when it comes to actually being stupid, like, I'm not into it. I'm not trying to do the same thing and expect different results. We learn from history that we don't learn from history. I want to be the exception to that rule. And what the amalgamation of this tangible fight in human trafficking and spinning our wheels as we have, and anyone who's worked in this field, they can tell you a lovely speech at a party, but at the end of the day, they're exhausted, they're burnt out, and they're seeing very little change on a large scale. And it's heartbreaking because we're doing it the wrong way. We're trying to clean up the outside while the inside is all nasty and mucky. I wouldn't invite you over, and I probably will invite you over, but I wouldn't invite you over to a dinner party, let you see my beautiful lawn with all my roses, and then the inside has got laundry all over the place, and my disgusting house has never been cleaned on the inside. Like, what am I going to have you eat on the grass? Like, I have to clean up the inside. We need to clean up the inside. We need to fight slavery from the inside out. We have mental prisons, 7.8 billion of us. No one's exempt. At a certain point in our lives, at any point, it can happen. But at a certain point, it will happen that you will be enslaved to a thought system, to a belief about yourself, that you're not good enough, not pretty enough, not wealthy enough, not successful enough, not smart enough, not whatever enough to be who you actually are just as you are. That is slavery. And slavery is an idea. You can't kill an idea, you got to have a better one. And the better idea for me is freedom. That starts with personal freedom. We don't end human trafficking of 48 million people when 7.8 billion people are enslaved inside their own minds. It will never happen. So we have to take personal responsibility. The Love Storm is an invitation that if you never, ever step foot into the world of fighting human trafficking, may you at least, as a human being, show up for yourself and end the slavery of your own mind. May you at least break the chains, that, invisible as they are, inside your head that tell you you're not enough, because you fucking are. So the Love Storm is a fierce love, because I don't do pansy love. We are storming the planet with love, and my love is ferocious like a tsunami or a hurricane, so it's called a love storm for a reason. And the event itself actually features a meditation. So the connecting dots between all of this work, all of what I've done for 13 years, what I learned from the girls who were the survivors that I thought I was going to help, that changed my life. What I learned from them was forgiveness. I learned compassion. I learned love. I didn't believe in those things. I didn't understand those things. And I certainly did not want to extend those things to traffickers and pimps like my girls told me to. Sister, no, we forgive the trafficker. We forgive the pimp. I'm like, no, I'm from America. and we get really big guns, and we blow things up. That's what Americans do. So no, we don't forgive and we don't love. And the girl's like, no, sister, we don't kill the trafficker, we don't kill the pimp, we forgive them. And I'm like, I don't like this lesson. And cut to a decade or so later, I have memories of childhood sexual abuse come back, and the healing process, the way out of my suffering, the way out of my slavery, was to find compassion for the person who sexually abused me, because he was a little boy who never wanted to hurt anybody when he was a little 2, 3, 4-year-old child. Then somebody did something to him, and the system failed him. Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong where we began creating traffickers and creating bullies and rapists and abusers? Because we had to create them. They did not come here as children. Children are innocent and perfect. We did this, and we have to be the ones to undo this. So the Love Storm is an invitation to take personal stake in the fight to end slavery from the inside out. That means modern-day slavery, fighting human trafficking, bringing the hands together of all these little organizations that are like tiny little waves on the ocean. I want a fucking tsunami, right? But if you aren't involved in that aspect of it, and you just want to help with the idea of slavery, you can do that in your own home. You can do that in your own home, in your body, in your mind, and break those chains. So I invite you to love storm yourself, or join the movement at www.thelovestorm.com and love storm the world with me. That's what we're doing. That's what Tony connected me with you. And yes. Tony has been love storming the world since the day he was born. He's such a love storm.
He is. I'm so grateful to him and for meeting you, and this message. Really, I usually speak so much, and I'm just like mostly quiet because you're either reading my thoughts and just answering or you're just saying things that I've been thinking for a long time, and I didn't have anyone else to like, you're radical, your thoughts, what are you doing? How can you think like this? Mm-hmm. Having the wrong people around, right? Yep.
Or just people who are accidentally ignorant, because there are ignorant people, and then there are people who just don't know, and that's an accidental ignorance.
Yes, but then there are people who actually don't want to know.
Yes, there are those ones too.
They're like,
I love to get into
a conversation with them. Oh God, you're invited. Let me know when.
They're my favorites. I love to just rip the carpet out from underneath those fools with all that storming love I have.
Well, it's going to happen one day, and I would love to see that, because that would be a challenge. I know the person, and
send me a Zoom link, honey.
That would be awesome. Okay, so tell us a little bit more, like, how can people get started in this love storm? Because I'm like, where do I sign up? How do I go to Cambodia with you? What do I need to do? Like, sign me up. And everyone listening right now got so much, like, their cups are overflowing with not just information, but also love. Every single word that you had said is going through their bodies, through their cells. They're probably pausing this, screenshotting this, going back to that. They're going to quote it. They're going to tag us on Instagram and all the other platforms. But the most important thing is sharing this message. And unfortunately, we're not going to get this out for Human World Trafficking Day, but that's okay, because it's still happening every day. Unfortunately, human trafficking is very lucrative, and I'm not saying this to go into the business of it, but there's so much, like you said, on the inside that you have to change, not just on your mind, but there's just so much that has been, the system has created this, and we have to break that box, that system, to start dismantling what atrocities have been made in the world, in the universe. So I am like, my soul is so deeply touched, and just like on the same, like, what do we do? Like, but then part of it's like, let's get the stuff and let's just start going in there and just shooting. That's not the right thing to do.
Well, there's always room for a Maha Kali moment, like, bring out the swords.
Right. We'll do it with love. We'll do a love bomb, like a love bombing.
We'll love bomb you. Exactly.
Yes. Okay.
But so if you'd like to join the movement, we have a little button you can click. Go to www.thelovestorm.com. click Join the Movement. It gives you an opportunity to let us know if you'd like to see the Love Storm come to your town. We're doing it virtually right now because of the lovely little COVID-19 virus. But once we fully open back up, it is a global tour. It's a global campaign, and we had launched it on National Human Trafficking Awareness Day back in 2020 before COVID hit us so hard, and we had 22 cities around the world that we were intending to visit. We do still intend to visit those cities and those communities to bring this message, bring the connecting dots for other organizations to be able to link arms and continue this fight on the outside, and we invite you to show up so that we combat this from the inside out. So thelovestorm.com, at thelovestorm, give us a follow on social, or you can find me at the Annalynne Mccord on social, and I'm always updating about these things.
Awesome. Okay. And we're wrapping up this session because, we're going to do a live. Eventually we're going to do a live, and people can have more questions, and I'm respectful of your time, my time, because time is precious, and we are on a mission to storm up the world with a lot of love. And yes. I'm so excited that we connected. So 2 things that I always ask my guests, and I'll ask the first one. What is one thing that you would have told your younger self before, from today, today, what would you have told your younger self? Any piece of advice, and this doesn't have to be about beauty. It's just anything that you're like, this is what you need to hear.
Well, I wouldn't have told her. I would have asked her, how do I stay just like you? How do I stay in wonder of it all? How do I stay a dreamer? How do I stay childlike and kind and loving and trusting, even when I'm being subjected to horror? How do I do that? Because I'm going to forget, and I'm going to get really, really hurt because I forget. And it's only in the moments in my 30s when I remember to be like you that I'm going to get it together again. Can you tell me now how to just stay just like you?
Oh, that's a beautiful, beautiful question and message. And I'm sure that all of the listeners, we have so many listeners from different ages, some people in high school, some grandparents who listen. So this fits for everyone, because I think that's the part that we're missing, that character that we spoke about earlier, that little human, that little child that we keep on trying to make them fit into the mold. Boys, don't cry, don't have emotions, don't do this. Girls, make sure you're stuck in your stomach, make sure you're really cute and you have your pigtails and your nails and all these things. We're making them into something that they're not. And so I love that you're reminding us to connect, to stay true to that, stay more aligned to that person, because wonderful things will happen to you.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And then last but not least, I have brag time. I have some amazing guests on the show, and I found that the more amazing the people, the more humble they are. And they don't really love to brag about themselves. So this is an opportunity. You get to brag about yourself. Tell me about, I know you have a podcast. I want to hear about that too. But this is the time where you get to tell me, Elizabeth, I taught my cat how to eat with a spoon.
That would be something to brag about for sure.
Yeah, you bought those buttons where she gets to speak, Have you seen those?
Yes, I have. That's amazing.
Yeah, so
I have not done any of that.
Brag about anything you want is what I'm saying. The floor is open to anything. There's no structure here.
Okay, well, one of my wellness practices, breath work, led me to Wim Hof, and he does breath work that leads you into ice baths. I am notoriously the coldest person on earth, and an ice bath sounds like my worst nightmare. So what did I do? I decided, let's challenge ourselves. And I will totally brag about this because I am incredibly proud of myself. Not only did I start doing ice baths every day back in October of last year, I changed my vascular system. I do not get cold anymore. In fact, I run quite hot. Literally my vascular system had just gone dormant because it was used to me putting on coats and blankets and all this stuff. And now I'm like, it's hot in here. And everyone's like, it's winter, bitch. And you're in the Hamptons, so there's snow. Why are you saying it's hot? 2-3 months ago, I broke my own record, 20 minutes in the ice bath.
Woo! Congratulations!
I posted the whole video on Instagram because I was talking about the mental health aspects of this, And this is the braggy part for me, one of my gurus, who's an incredible yogi teacher extraordinaire in New York, Eddie Stern, he called me and he said, I want you to know that at minute 8 and something, whatever of the video, because it was 20 minutes, of me doing this, he said, you slipped into bliss. And I started crying. It was such a beautiful moment because it was impossible to describe. It was just a perfect moment, and it brought tears to my eyes. And this is someone who's trained in India, and he's he knows all the amazing chants and leads these things. And I was it meant the world to me that he saw something that yogis aspire to, that I was able to do for myself, for that little 9-year-old girl inside of me, to bring her into just ultimate joy and bliss, in a space where my mind is not yelling things at me, and I'm just in silence, and it's wonderful. And it's freezing cold, but I didn't know it because my energy field was heating up that water so hard. It was I could feel the outline of my energetic field in the water, just heating the water. It was wild. And I try to explain it, and then you see me just get less and less coherent on the video because you literally get high. You get messed up. You should not drive a motor vehicle after doing this because you literally can't function properly. But it's
so we're
amazing.
Gonna watch this.
Definitely check that out.
I saw a little piece of it, but now I'm gonna have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, there's a little time lapse one, but there's an actual video which you can just slide through. And I try to walk people through what I'm feeling, and then I'm just goodbye everyone, I'm in heaven.
Oh my God.
So okay, cool.
So you've inspired me because you sound like me. I'm the coldest person ever.
Yeah.
And perhaps my
it's your vascular system. Dormant. It's dormant. Yeah. It's gone dormant because it's Elizabeth's going to put a big warm coat on me, so I don't need to warm her up. And I do, I went on Wim Hof's podcast actually because of all of this. He invited me on. I was fangirling so hard, but I literally go on there and we're talking about it, and you start talking to your autonomic nervous system, and all the doctors and scientists are you can't tell your autonomic nervous system, and Wim Hof is yes I can, watch me.
Yes, he can.
And he does, and he's incredible, but what I do when I'm in the cold, I say, okay body, you're cold, but I'm not the body. I'm not my spleen, I'm not my liver, I'm not my elbow, I'm not my skin, I'm not my body, I'm not my brain. I'm the consciousness between, inside, right? Beneath it all. So consciousness doesn't get cold. What's going on? I am not cold. My body is cold. So I tell my consciousness, I'm heat my body up. Warm it up. Stop shivering. And you see me on the video, and my shivering stops, and my body starts, and I start going into a space where I'm feeling fine in a really cold tub. That tub was about 43 degrees temperature, Fahrenheit. So fucking cold as shit.
Yes.
Anything under 60 is just
yes.
But totally, this has been transformative, life-changing for me. I just looked at the time. I actually have to go.
I know.
I could talk to you forever. Yes, I have a podcast, too. It's called Unzipped. It's with my old 90210 co-star because I did say yes to 90210, and I did do that show for 5 years. And my old co-star and she and I got, someone talked about us behind our backs, created a feud between the two of us without us realizing it. We hashed that out on episode 1 of the show. I hated her for 5 years, and now we're doing a podcast together. So we talk about that on episode 1, and then all of the episodes are us diving into topics where we just ask you to come on, be unzipped, share with us what's going on. You have to come, obviously, on the show and tell us your story. Right now, she is going on mat leave because she's about to have she created a human in her body. We've been talking about how cool this is.
Yes.
And he will be here in a couple weeks. So after that, at some point, I would love to have you on. But see, all of your listeners, you are so beautiful because I see your soul. I don't have to see your faces and what clothes you wear and cars you drive, because I don't measure your beauty by that. I measure it by the starlight you're made of, and I can see that sparkling all the way from here. So I'm so grateful to be able to be a part of your journey for this lovely little period of this podcast. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Anna. And everyone, don't crash when you go watch her video. We will do it live. So I appreciate you for coming. Have an amazing day, and we will talk soon. Bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this amazing conversation and these amazing topics that sometimes we don't want to talk about. We only want to talk about what's really beautiful on the outside and on surface, but these are things that are happening every day. If you are interested in checking out the Love Storm campaign, please do so. I'm going to put the links in the bottom. Also check out Anna's podcast. And if you haven't already subscribed to this podcast, I don't know what you're waiting for, because I have to tell you that there are going to be some amazing guests coming and amazing conversations that you do not want to miss. Please share this episode with at least 5 people you know. Have them subscribe, and if you haven't already, tell people that, hey, this is a podcast worth listening to. So guys, until next week, see you then. Bye.